Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I thought I'd show you some of the earliest examples of sword and sorcery created by the one that most uh, critics and literary historians, including John Clute and John Grant, who compiled were the editors for the Encyclopedia of Fantasy, acquired the title of Sword and Sorcery to this fellow, Robert E. Howard. And we know Robert E. Howard died at a very young age, died in 1936. But the first Sword and Sorcery stories that he wrote were not King or Conan stories, but they were, in fact, Kull stories. Now, King Kull, or Kull, first appeared in Weird Tales back in 1929. Conan did not appear until a few years later. And in Howard's lifetime, only 3 of the Kull stories appeared within the pages of pulp magazines and Weird Tales. So this is probably the definitive edition. It's considered the definitive edition of the Kull stories. There was another, the first actually in paperback was this one. This one by Robert E. Howard, and with the revisions of the editor Lynn Carter. This was published by Lancer back in 1967. You can flip through here and it gives you a list of the stories that are in here, some of which were published in Howard's lifetime. Shadow Kingdom and Mirrors of Tuzun were published in Howard's lifetime. The King and the Yoke was not. And as you see there, some of the other stories had not appeared in previous issues, but first appeared in this volume by Lancer. The cover art here is by Roy Krenkel. Beautiful cover, by the way, of the fantasy world of King Kull. Oh, Kull was an Atlantean. That's why it says Exile of Atlantis. That was the moniker that was given to him subsequent. He first appeared in this previously unpublished story, as it says here, in Exile of Atlantis. I always felt that that Atlantis gave the stories a kind of an exotic feel. So it tells you here that the Shadow Kingdom was published in August of 1929 in Weird Tales. Mirrors of Tuzun in 1929 Weird Tales. Then it gives you a list of the original version, 1978, the Delcard's Cat, which first appeared in Lancer in 1967, Skull of Silence, 67, and all the subsequent appearances of the and Kings of the Night also appeared in Weird Tales in 1930. It also gives you unfinished drafts. One of the attractive features of this book in particular is, of course, the artwork. It is festooned throughout the text. Beautiful artwork. One only wishes that it had been done in color. That's the only thing. But there's some fine line drawing work. Kull featured some great artists. So when it was initially published in both in 1967, it had this cover art, and it also, when it first became published as a comic book, thanks to Roy Thomas, kind of after the popularity of Conan, decided that in 1971 he would introduce King Kull, or Kull. And this is his first appearance in comic books, in the pages of Creatures on the Loose, number 10. And here you have the very fine art of artist Bernie Wrightson. This is a good plus copy of that issue. So there you go, just a 7-page story, and that's Kull's first appearance. But I'll show you the other. This is an edition that came out from Dark Horse, who obtained the rights to Kull, and they published the first story from Creatures on the Loose, along with number 1, with cover art by Marie Severin, and interior art by Ross Andrew and Wally Wood, with Roy Thomas doing the writing chores. And then the subsequent artists were also excellent. This is Marie Severin and John Severin. Beautiful work, actually. So I managed to buy this one, and I managed to get volume 2, which I consider the better of the entire run of the King Kull adventures, the Chronicles of King Kull. This one has stories by Doug Monk, Marie Severin, Mike Plug. Great artists. So I'll also show you some more of the Sword and Sorcery characters. One that has a connection to the Conan universe, kind of by a sideline. I'll show you the first published appearance of Kothar, written by Gardner Fox. Gardner Fox was seminal in the Silver Age and in the Golden Age of comic books for creating things like the Justice Society of America, and in the Silver Age doing the Justice League of America, and then co-creating the Spectre and the Silver Age Hawkman. He wrote most of the stories of the Golden Age Hawkman. And so I'll show you that. And so this is Kothar. This is the paperback original and first appearance. This one is in your fine copy. Belmont Books. This is a reprint. This is Kothar and the Demon Queen. Gardner Fox. This is another cover. This one's from Leisure Books. And it's another cover of this novel. And then we have Kothar and the Wizard Slayer. Now Kothar also appeared in Conan. Not as a Kothar story, obviously, but as a rewrite with Gardner Fox's permission. It was rewritten, The Curse of the Conjurer, as a Conan adventure. You see, dedicated Kothar and the Conjurer's Curse by Gardner Fox. So he appeared in all of these 5 issues. Interior art is John Buscema and Dick Giordano. So that's that one. And I'd also wanted to show you some of the Brak the Barbarian, which I managed to get a complete set of. And this is the tandem books. This has a tape pull, unfortunately. This is by John Jakes. John Jakes became famous for writing a series of historical novels. Well, you see the copyright, reprinted by Tandem, 1976. It's a reprint. And this is Brak the Barbarian versus the Sorceress, with beautiful cover art here by the late great Frank Frazetta. And this is Mark of the Demons. I'm trying to see who the cover artist is, and I can't tell, but that's a beautiful cover. It's not Frazetta. Can't tell. So this is Brak versus Mark of the Demons. And this is the third book in the series, Brak When the Idols Walked. And this is the first pocketbook, 1978. And according to this, it was a reprint and a rewrite and expanded from Fantastic Stories from copyright 1964. And this is the last book in the series, The Fortunes of Brak. And this one has interior and cover art by Douglas Beekman. This one came out, first printing January 1980, a Siddell fantasy novel. That's that one. And this is the Tandem Books editions. This one has an odd cover. So this is the Tandem Book editions of Mark of the Demons. This one's from 1976. And The Sorceress. This one's from 1970, Tandem. All right, so that's my little foray into King Kull and some of the origins of sword and sorcery, and some of John Jakes' sword and sorcery novels, and Gardner Fox sword and sorcery novels of Kothar, and Brak the Barbarian. So I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. If you did, don't forget to give me a like, and thanks everyone for subscribing, and thanks everyone for commenting. Thanks. Bye.